So buying a home is an exciting milestone, but it's also a complex financial decision that involves several key costs beyond the price of the property itself. First-time buyers in particular may be surprised to learn about the numerous one-time costs that come with purchasing a home. Being aware of these expenses ahead of time will help you plan effectively, avoiding any financial surprises and ensure a smooth home buying process. Today, we'll walk you through major one-time costs associated with buying a home and provide tips on how to prepare for them. So first, the deposit. It's an upfront amount that you pay towards the price of the property, and this is typically the largest cost that you'll encounter when purchasing a home. Deposit is paid directly to the seller through your solicitors, and once your offer has been accepted and you're ready to exchange contracts. The deposit usually ranges from 5 to 25% of the purchase price, depending on the mortgage type you apply for and your financial situation. So as an example, if you're purchasing a home for $300,000, a 5% deposit would be $15,000 and a 20% deposit would be $60,000. To prepare for this, we'd recommend that you start saving early by beginning saving for your deposit as soon as you decide to purchase a home and considering using a lifetime ISA to boost your savings. You can also explore low deposit options if saving for a large deposit is difficult, looking into government schemes like shared ownership which allow for lower deposit requirements. Second cost to consider is stamp duty land tax. Stamp duty is a tax imposed by the government on property transactions, and it's calculated based on the purchase price of the property and can vary significantly depending on your location and whether you're a first-time buyer. In England, the rates of stamp duty depend on the price of the home, and if this purchase is your only property that you'll own, you won't pay any stamp duty on the first $125,000, 2% will be charged on amounts between $125,000 to $250,000, and then 5% on amounts over $250,000 up to $925,000. And again, the percentage goes up when you go above that purchase price. For first-time buyers, there's a relief available on homes valued up to $500,000, meaning you won't pay any stamp duty on the first £300,000 of your transactions, and these rules are in place from the 1st of April 2025. To prepare for stamp duty, first of all, we'd recommend that you calculate your stamp duty, and there's online calculators that will allow you to do that, or if you're not confident, you can speak to an expert to estimate your stamp duty based on the purchase price of a home that you're likely to buy, and then budget accordingly. So add the cost of the stamp duty into your overall budget so you're not caught off guard. And be aware of the first-time buyer and ensure that you're eligible for that relief. The third cost to consider is your legal fees. So conveyancing refers to the legal process of transferring the ownership of a property from the seller to the buyer, and you'll need to hire a solicitor or a licensed conveyor to handle this process. The process includes doing searches in the local area, arranging contracts, and then registering you as the owner of the property. Typical legal fees cost somewhere between maybe £1,500 to £3,000, although this can vary depending on the complexity of the transaction, value of the property, and the area in which you're purchasing. We'd recommend shopping around and getting quotes from several solicitors or conveyancers, and some may offer fixed fees which can guarantee the price that you'll be paying, whereas others may charge for an hourly rate, so be aware of these in the quotes that you receive. The fourth cost to consider is the valuation and survey fees. Before you get a mortgage, your lender will likely require a valuation to ensure the property is worth the amount you're borrowing. But in addition to this, we'd highly recommend to arrange an independent survey to assess the condition of the property and identify any potential issues that may need addressing. Depending on the level of survey, the cost can range from around £500 to £1,500. A basic home buyer's report is generally going to cost less than a full building survey, which is a more in-depth inspection. To prepare for this, we'd recommend making sure that you choose the right survey. If you're buying a new build or relatively new home, a home buyer's report should be sufficient. However, for older or more unusual properties, you may require a more detailed building survey. Speaking to a qualified local surveyor and they'll be able to assist in recommending the right survey for you. And whilst valuation fees are often set by the lender in terms of your own independent survey, we'd recommend, as always, you shop around for surveyors to find a competitive price. Once your home purchase goes through, another cost to consider is the removal firm. You'll need to factor in the cost of moving your belongings from one property to your new property. It includes hiring a professional removals company, packing materials, and any additional services such as storage or cleaning. Removal costs vary based on the size of your move and the distance involved. Typical prices may range from $300 to $1,500 for local moves, with longer distant moves or larger properties costing slightly more. Again, it's always a good idea to get quotes from at least 2 or 3 removal companies to compare prices. You could consider DIY options, so if you're on a tight budget, consider renting a van yourself and moving your belongings, but do keep in mind it's time consuming and physically demanding to move all of your belongings to a new home. We'd recommend that you plan ahead, making sure you book your removal firm well in advance to avoid paying last minute premiums. Once you're into your home, home insurance is essential to protect your property and belongings from risks such as fire, theft or flooding. Most mortgage lenders will require you to have buildings insurance in place before you complete on the purchase. Buildings insurances can vary widely based on the size of the property and the location, but it typically ranges from maybe £100 to £400 per year. You'll also need to consider insurances for your own contents as well as the building, which again can typically cost somewhere between £100 to maybe £300 per year. We'd recommend shopping around for buildings and contents insurance to find the best deal for your properties and belongings, and then ensuring that the insurance you arrange cover meets your lender's requirements but also your own requirements to ensure that you've got full coverage should anything ever happen. And finally, the seventh cost to consider: after purchasing your home, you may want to furnish it or make some renovations. And these costs can include anything from new furniture, appliances, to larger scale renovations like repainting, flooring, upgrading the kitchen or bathroom. Furnishing and renovating a home can vary greatly depending on the size of the property, your taste and your requirements. Basic furniture and home essentials can cost somewhere between £2,000 to £10,000, but major renovations will have additional expenses. We'd recommend that you plan ahead by setting aside a separate budget for furnishing your home and making any necessary improvements, and consider what you need to do immediately and what can be done later. And furnishing your home is a gradual process for many first-time buyers. So in conclusion, buying a home is a thrilling but costly process. It's essential to prepare for the one-time expenses that come along with it, from the deposit to the stamp duty, the legal fees, survey and moving costs. These expenses can quickly add up. However, by understanding these costs and planning ahead, you'll be better equipped to manage your budget and avoid any financial surprises along the way.